Hey everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Beta 400, and of course the brown skin human coming back at you with another review. This is another late, out of date Marvel Cinematic Universe movie review, and this is my review of the 2019 summer blockbuster Spider-Man Far From Home, which, in my opinion, is not only one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe films, it is the best Spider-Man film, period. This is the best Spider-Man film, period. And this is the best Spider-Man related media, period. I think this is the best Spider-Man thing of all time. Completely exceeded my expectations. This is pretty much technically the last film and the first film of Phase 3 and Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe post Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and of course Stan Lee. And I didn't think it'd be good, but I didn't think it would be good, but it looks good. Not the film, but the MCU going forward. But after seeing this film, I'm really excited for the MCU going forward. Yes, even without Stan Lee, Chris Evans, and Robert Downey Jr. This film right here, and I thought this was way better as a film movie. Endgame is still bigger because of what it was, because of what it represented. But this film right here, Far From Home, this film Far From Home, um, was my opinion a so much better film. And in my opinion, this film I forgot to mention this in the part two narration of this video, but this film completely, in my opinion, stuck it to critics who criticized Tom Holland's Spider-Man for constantly being in the shadow of Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. He comes out of his shadow in this movie right here. So, with that being said, let's get this video review started right now. Wish I could go faster. I wish I would have done this review faster.
Here comes that sonic blaster, and like a comet, I go streaking across the sky. I like to be the one that everyone says, look at him go. He makes the drumstick smoke. Who is that guy? Well, that's me. If I could just accelerate my life, it'd be great. My legs could be a blur. Wow, look at her, she can really fly. She flies. I wish I could go faster. I really wish I was the fastest thing alive. Ba, 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 yeah, yeah. Here comes that sonic blaster, and like a comet, I go streaking across the sky.
This is part two of my late, out of date review of what I consider to be one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe films ever. One of the best, actually, the best Spider Man movie ever. And the best Spider Man related media, period. is Spider-Man Far From Home. This film completely exceeded my expectations, and I thought this post Phase 3 and beginning of this post Phase 3 and segue to Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was was way better than the previous film, Avengers Endgame. Endgame. This film, this film managed to fit. This film managed to fit right into the Marvel Cinematic Universe while also, unlike the previous one, staying true to the comic books, only changing a couple of details, which are those details that they change are the only problems with this film right here. So, with that being said, let's get started. Right now, I saw the Spider-Man Far From Home shortly after it released, but I couldn't decide how I wanted to review it. Do I want to do two review? Do I want to review this film alone or do it with the others? And I'm going to do both because this film deserves to be talked about alone because it's in a league of its own. But I consider this film to be the best and another great addition to the Sam Raimi and previous ones. So I'm gonna do two videos. This one right here, which is separate, and another with all of them being reviewed together. So yeah, I'm watching the film again in the background, which I'm about to play in a moment right here. But yes, Far From Home, the storyline cast of characters with Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio being one of the best characters and villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe of all time. Everyone did a good job in music with the Ramones' I Am Sedated and then the Far From Home song. What's that band called? I can look it up right now. Hold on. Let's look it up right now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Vacation by the Go-Go's. I wanna be sedated by the Ramones and the Go-Go's Vacation song were the two best songs in the film. You also had other songs like I Wanna Be Your Girlfriend, also by the Ramones, and Back in Black by AC DC. So one of the coolest soundtracks ever. One of the coolest soundtracks ever. One of the most funnest movies, one of the most funnest superhero kids movies of all time was this movie right here. And I like how this movie stuck really this movie stuck
That's nice.
this movie stuck really close to the comic books, only changing a couple of details. The main villain of this film, Electro in the comic books is a special effects guy who gets fired from his day job and decides to use his equipment for villainy, which he does in this film. Only difference is this is the only problem I have in this version. See, um, Mysterio has to be connected to Tony Stark, Iron Man. I apologize if I said Electro. I meant to say Mysterio. If I said Electro earlier, I can't remember. But anyway, Mysterio has to be connected to Tony Stark. So in this version, it's Tony Stark who fires him, and that creates a plot hole in the movie. If he wanted revenge on Tony Stark, why did he wait so long to finally get revenge, or why did he wait till after Tony Stark was dead to finally get his revenge? We know why in real life the people who making this movie didn't have the rights to Spider-Man yet, and Mysterio's a Spider-Man villain. But what's the excuse in the universe they have going on? They have quote unquote going on here. Then the second and third plot hole was the superhero plot holes when Spider-Man tells Fury when he name drops the other heroes, Captain Marvel,
No, we'll be okay.
Captain Marvel,
Thank
Doctor
you.
Strange,
Great, 'cause
Thor,
I'm
Wanda, all those other characters.
You
Why
actually-
didn't he call him, especially Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange is practically the magic version of what Mysterio is, a real magic version of what Mysterio is. Doctor Strange and Wanda are the two characters
A
you would
village was
call.
destroyed by what may well be
Now in
another
real life,
world
this is a Spider-Man movie. In real life, this is a quote-unquote Spider-Man movie. But what's the excuse in the universe they have going? They have going here. All those other heroes, Peter Parker, name those are characters
you and I are going to attend.
you would name drop to deal with a threat like Electro, especially Doctor Strange. So that was the second and third plot hole. But other than that, everything was good from beginning to end. I love the Avengers tribute. The Avengers, I'll Always Love You tribute to Vision, Captain America, um, Natasha, Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, and
Stark said you wouldn't get that
and
because it's not a Star
and
Wars.
and I think I said Tony Stark already. Yeah, those four people. Those four people in the beginning. In the beginning, I love how they handled the blip, which is what they call it. This one, the blip, the Thanos wiping out the population, the snap. I like how they handled it in the film with characters who were younger, like the guy in the beginning he said, my young brother was younger than me. Now he's older because I went away for 5 years, and that the people who were blip, they still had to come back to school and finish their stuff. They handled the blip and stuff real well. They handled the blip, and love the trailers for this film, which actually made it seem like
Well,
Mysterio was a hero. And it made me even more interested in seeing the film to see how he would become evil, how he would become evil. But it turns out when we get midway into the film, the whole thing was a CGI special effects motion capture act. That was real awesome. Then the big climax, the big Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man being Peter Parker revealed at the end, something they have never done in any Spider-Man media, where Jonah Jameson actually not only figures out who Spider-Man is, that he's Peter Parker, but utilizes his but
don't ever apologize.
reveals his identity to the world, doing a storyline never done before in any Spider-Man related media. Made me really interested, wanting to see the next Spider-Man now. Wanted to see the next Spider-Man now. So
the science division had a technical name.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
called them
So
elementals.
Versions of them exist across.
Turns out the myths are real.
an awesome film. Awesome film. Love the development. Love the humor. Love the humor in the film. With the most hilarious scene being the bathroom scene. With bathroom scene where the guy told Brad, who saw Peter in the bathroom with the spy earlier, he told Brad, you gotta stop taking pictures of people in the bathroom. But then Flash Thompson surprisingly stands up for Peter by saying, "Yeah, Brad, what's that about? What's that about?" And then of course earlier in the film where Flash Thompson taunts Peter saying this is a jet which flies over the poor neighborhoods, unlike a bus which travels through them. And then MJ stands up for him and says Flash was drinking a beer. He says this guy is technically 16. This guy blipped, so he's technically 16. And the woman took the beer from him, and Flash like, I don't even know that woman. And there were lots of funny moments and lots of awesome quotes, with my favorite quote being at the end where Happy Hogan gives Peter that pep talk. And he asks, what are you going to do about Electro? And Peter was like, finally, swears for the first time, says, I'm going to kick his ass.
But if my aunt finds out I left my class trip, she's gonna
one of the best Spider-Man movie of all time, and one of the best MCU films. And I had a bad feeling about the MCU post Stan Lee, post Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, but it's looking. Sorry about that. It's looking real good, real good. So yeah, this was an awesome film. Sorry it took me so long sorry it took so long for me to review it. Like I said, all the actors were a great job, but the MVP of characters in this film was Jake Gyllenhaal. Spider-Man is one of those franchises where the villains are way cooler, which Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. In my opinion, Mysterio, Ultron, and Ultron, the Vulture, and what's the guy's name? Zemo from Civil War. In my opinion, the best MCU villains. MCU has weak villains, but these were some of their best, in my opinion. So, with that being said, I'm finished for now. If you don't want to hear the rest of the music, turn the video off right now.